do you still carry that stigma about EO कि यहाँ पर सिर्फ party हो रही है या retreats हो रहा है या घूमना फिरना हो रहा है? Or has anything changed?
The entire perception has changed 180 degrees. And
Thinking of consistency every day is also very important. So when I go to office, I always think of how I can make my business more consistent. Because that is also very important. Along with new ideas. New ideas are easy to find, difficult to implement, and rather more difficult to make it consistent.
so, like, how was your first meeting? Or rather, first day at office?
The first day at office was just me and myself.
You asked him a question about his first day at office. How was your first day at office?
My first day of office was probably one of the busiest days I've ever had.
If I tell you about my first 3 days, where I broke my entire confidence on the first day, while I regained all my confidence back on the third day. Ask me how.
यानी दोस्ती हम सोचते हैं यार दोस्ती तो यार दिल की बात है ना मन गया तो हो गया तो हो गया नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ बट इट्स नॉट दैट आई थिंक कहीं ना कहीं ये स्ट्रक्चर्स दीज प्रोसेसेस help you cultivate a relationship that is more than just functional.
I feel so powerful with this bunch of people I am friends with or I am a part of this group that I know any kind of trouble I land up into.
Sure.
I think every solution is a phone call away for me.
I come from privilege. I can't deny the fact that I come from privilege where I had the chance to fail.
Why the hell would he do something else when his dad is a master at what he's doing?
Sure.
But then I've seen that journey transition that you started something of your own. You built an I'm so proud of you, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, this takes courage. Definitely.
So there was never been a restriction as to what I can experiment with or what I cannot experiment with as far as business is concerned.
Yeah.
The biggest burden to live with is the legacy.
I don't know of an industry out of which we don't have a member today.
Absolutely.
Being selective, at the same time being diverse, this will keep adding value to the organization.
And kudos to the leadership at EO Gujarat that have brought in such a pedigree under one organization.
This is the only organization where you can manage to get these 112 people under one roof.
All I knew is that कुछ करना है. वो कुछ नहीं कभी मालूम था.
Do you think you know now वो कुछ क्या था? Or you're still figuring it out?
How was your first meeting? Or rather, first day at office?
The first day at office was just me and myself. The first day at office was just... the first day at office did not exist because our job was to create an office, right? So the first day starts 3 months back when you decide on bringing a concept to life. So the idealization phase was probably the longest for me. And I think the education phase, educating my family, educating my designer, educating myself, to be very honest about it, about everything that goes around in doing a managed office space or a co-working space was the most difficult thing. And right after it was ready, I think educating the client was something which was extremely difficult. Because, I mean, when you talk about a tier 2 plus city like Ahmedabad, and you try on bringing something which is a radical shift in how people perceive it to be, it is a very different ball game altogether. So education took some time, and I think once that was good, there was no looking back. If I were to just talk about the first few days or first couple of months of what and how I started.
Creating shifts is something that I can relate with, because I remember when we started this store at CG Road, and we had brands right up there in the display. Until then, people would kind of display expensive stuff inside trays or keep them in boxes. And like they told, this shop will shut down in less than 1,000 days. Like, it will not last even 2 or 3 years. And it was difficult for people to have that paradigm shift that premium stuff can be your hero or the thing right there in display. I'm sure you've had stories about mindset shift.
Mindset shift,
Clients.
I think, has happened with generations. India as a whole has grown. We have seen wealth very recently. So primary reason to that is the growth of the country, because people have started earning money and hence they have started spending money. They have started exploring newer opportunities in business. Like, he's into a business, as he rightly said, to bring that mindset into a small city like Ahmedabad is so difficult today. I'm in a business of selling cars.
Mm.
So he added about, saying something, thinking of something new every day, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I would like to add here that thinking of consistency every day is also very important. So when I go to office, I always think of how I can make my business more consistent. But that is also very important. Along with new ideas. New ideas are easy to find, difficult to implement, and rather more difficult to make it consistent. So growth journey has to be backed by consistency.
Yeah.
So that consistency is very important. And now the customer is not consistent. He's changing his,
There is fickleness in thought.
I would say his spectrum of thought process or buying
Or
or
also because the
habit.
options are too many.
Yeah,
Choices
the options are too many. They have earned money. As you said, that luxury goods earlier used to be stored in a shelf and now it is openly kept.
Absolutely.
So why you do that? Because you're not scared. You know that the Indian customer is now growing.
True.
Is so well traveled, is so matured that these things won't lure him to spoil it. They value these things and they understand the value of these things. So India has grown immensely. I have seen days where Ray-Ban was a dream, and today I believe
there is no limit
buying
to
chrome
whatever
hearts is also like a very ordinary man's
Absolutely.
job. So there are things which have changed.
True.
So being in business of automobile, I sell from bikes to now trucks and luxury cars. So I have all sort of customers, and I see some customers who are common for me. They buy bikes for the staff, they buy trucks for the businesses, and they buy luxury cars for themselves.
True.
I see the mindset change every time they're buying something. So within the same customer, you find different mindsets also. So a lot of changes happening around.
And I think going back to something, to just add to this is, we think that a monotonous life in work is, less appreciated. I think a monotonous life in work with consistency is what has also built the giants that there are today in the
That is
world. I
true.
mean, the early stages, right? What's the most beautiful thing about any journey? I mean, it doesn't matter how long the journey has been, is that in the initial days, when you start, the vision is so flexible. It keeps on changing at all points of time. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to change your vision. And that vision essentially gets defined once, you really get into it. I mean, what you've thought of while you start, and, 6 months down the line, you really come to something. So the best part of entrepreneurship, which I feel, is also that with the journey of the business and with the flexibility of the business, your vision becomes flexible and it keeps on growing at all points of time.
You asked him a question about his first day at office. How was your first day at office?
My first day of office was probably one of the busiest days I've ever had, because that's when my father took his first off after a long time.
Okay.
And I had to literally go and fill in his shoes. So that was probably the first 3 days were the busiest days that I've ever had in office. And at that point in time, we were still doing a lot of work in the business. Today, we've taken a step back. At least me, I've kind of stepped back and I'm working more on the business and very less time in the stores. At that point in time, we were all working inside the store and being a clinician, just graduating out of college. So my job was basically, the handling the clinic part of it. And yes, those were the 3 busiest days ever. I have not known time fly like that ever at work.
So if I tell you about my first 3 days, they were my best 3 days, I would say, where I broke my entire confidence on the first day while I regained all my confidence back on the third day. Ask me how.
How?
So when I entered office, my dad gave me a broom and said, "Clean the office." I was like, "What? I'm studying commerce and I'm trying to do something in my life, and he wants me to broom it up. This is not me. I can't do this." And I was not willing to do it. He said, "Okay, fine, I'll do it then." And then obviously I could now see my father doing it. So I took it from his hand and we started doing it. And that was my first day. It broke all my confidence that I am going to do some business in life or something. And I cannot clean my office. What will I do? So it broke my complete confidence. Second day, he didn't come to the office. He came late. He said, "Keep the office ready. Now you know how to open, how to close and everything. We had a shop. So he said, "Keep the shop open and I will come after an hour." So before he comes, I have to keep everything in place. And so I did it by force, not willingly so much, but I had to do it. So I did it. Third day, he didn't have to tell me anything. So I had owned it by then. Within 3 days, I had that ownership that this is my thing. Yeah, I have to do this. This is what I have to do.
Correct.
So that acceptance came in. So that's why I say the first 3 days were the most amazing
But
times.
that's a brilliant lesson how parents can mentor.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
I started business when I was like almost 30 years ago from today. That was my first day to office, I can say, about 30 years ago. That point, as a youngster or as a new generation of that age, I always wondered that I want to do something which my dad is not doing or something of my own. So that was the mindset. I believe continuing with what dad is doing was inevitable in my mind, that I will be forced into this, but always I wanted to. He was my first competition, what I mean. And I was into my dad was into a small time cloth business. So in Mumbai, and we were, two people were more than enough for that business. So I always had this in back of my mind that I will have to do something of my own if I want to be sustainable. I believe you are in third generation of your business.
Third generation of business.
You are the first generation entrepreneur.
First and second both, yeah. I mean,
so there's a, three different people, I believe, in terms of identifying themselves at the early age where they want to head to.
True.
I believe now, when you said that these are the values we put into children, I believe the children now don't think like this. At least my children don't. They want to start from where I am.
Absolutely.
They don't think of doing something different. They want to, mobilize all the resources they have and grow it further.
Yep.
Somewhere you have done that in your organization.
That's exactly the mindset that I had, is that we just have to take it from where it is already.
Correct. In my dad's business, I was always having this mindset that I would like to do something new. So I ended up doing whatever you see today is everything first generation, what we are doing. He is absolutely, I believe, the Gen Z amongst us.
True.
So he must have always wanted to do something similarly different than your dad and on your own.
My mindset was actually very much like yours.
Yeah.
I mean, came from genuinely nothing. My grandfather was a clerk in a bank, right? And with what...
क्या बैंक लूटा क्या? कैसे आए थे पैसा भाई?
Is all my father, man. And I think...
उन्होंने लूटा.
I mean, let's just put it that
money
way.
heist.
Yeah, but to see him, what he became, right, ever since the younger days in my life, was a very big thing. And I think I wouldn't say my father was my competition, but at the same time, I think it was always about making him extremely proud, but not with what he gave me, but with what I could do with my own life.
Every child's problem.
All I knew is that कुछ करना है. वो कुछ नहीं कभी मालूम था. वो कुछ आते आते अभी भी सीख रहे हैं और I think सीखते ही रहेंगे. मतलब I don't think that...
This brings a question to me. Do you think you know now वो कुछ क्या था? Or you're still figuring it out?
I think a bit of both. I'm not being diplomatic.
That kuch, instead of being a very concrete word or something, has now become like a philosophy to live with.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that from where I was back when I was 21 years old, right? Do I believe that I needed to take that stress? यार वो बोलते हैं 29 पे बाल सफेद हो गए, रात को यार ये नहीं करना मिलता, ये नहीं करना मिलता. पर अब 29 पे ऐसा भी लगता है कि शायद वो किया होता.
Do what I did. Because 29 तक बाल नहीं रहेंगे तो सफेद नहीं रहेंगे.
Yeah, so that...
Look at him.
Yeah, I mean, fair, right? And that's where but then I always think about it the other way. I mean, am I happy with myself when I put that mind to sleep, right? And I am. So I mean, I would take whatever I have done every single day without any second thoughts. No matter. I mean, so many of my friends say, right? Yeah, what nonsense are you doing? I mean, your dad is doing. Look at this, and you're going for peanuts. And I say that fair. I mean, that's okay. I mean, it's subjective.
I understand what you're saying. I can feel this because your dad is a very good friend of mine. So I know him, I guess, before I know you. I knew you, and I've seen this journey because he always was, in a mode that I don't know what Yash is going to do. He wants to do something else. He talks about this, that. I don't understand this model of business. I was also wondering why the hell would he do something else when his dad is a master at what he's doing.
Sure.
But then I've seen that journey transition, that you started something of your own. You built a name. I'm so proud of you, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, this takes courage. Definitely.
I come from privilege. I can't deny the fact that I come from privilege where I had the chance to fail. If I would have failed, I had a back support system, and that's not something I can lie about, or that's not something I can say that वो नहीं था, वो हमेशा था. But ये सोचा नहीं था. So to reach here also, again, I mean, the first 5 years have been what I achieved in the first 6 years, I have achieved in the last 8 months.
Wow.
So one question here, Aman here. So he did something what he wanted to, or he created a new business model. I created a new business model. I believe more or less our journeys of beginning the business would have been the same. I really had nobody to answer to. Even if I lost somewhere, nobody was questioning me because nobody knew that I lost something. If I gained something, I was always appreciated. So I believe that journey, God was kind, we did it well, and things went well for us. So the journey was rather smooth. But about you, when I look at you, I always used to think, यार ये तो भाई इसको तो सब
Silver
कुछ,
spoon.
हाँ, golden spoon, silver क्यों भाई, सब कुछ विरासत में मिला है.
हाँ.
But now when I look at it, when I've grown, matured as a businessman, I feel this would have been more challenging because you have two masters in your house who are excelling that business, and now the competition is you, and you have to prove yourself. How do you do that?
So I think this is what I've kind of said in the past as well, is that the biggest burden to live with is the legacy.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
especially if you had two generations who've excelled and made a name for themselves, so it becomes very difficult initially. But I think I have to give credit to both my father and uncle that they let me make mistakes. मतलब उन्होंने बोला कि ठीक है, whatever you want to do, they never kind of put any, एक ही बात बोला कि पैसा मत घुमाना, बस इतना ध्यान रखना. So they let
Bottom
me do things my way.
Yeah.
If I wanted to invest rather than stocks, I said no, I want to invest into branding. There was never a question to it, as long as it was performing. Okay, so that was one big pivot in my life, that stock या उससे ज़्यादा maybe branding में डालना, and to create a retail brand. उस समय यानी it's like you are just another shop on a high street.
Sure.
Nobody thinks of creating any brand around it or stuff like that. So that was one big investment that I wanted to do at that point in time, which they never stopped me from doing. Okay, when I was trying to bring in newer brands into the country, I remember when even the regular names that people had, they would mispronounce them, and I would correct them. I was like, they would look at me like I'm from a different world altogether. Okay, so trying to bring those brands ahead of places like Delhi and Mumbai into Ahmedabad, and there was always a question कि क्या ये गुजरात में चलेगा, क्या ये अहमदाबाद में चलेगा. So there was never a question to कि ये आप कर सकते हो कि नहीं कर सकते हो. And that is, I think, whatever I am today is courtesy, the liberty that they gave me, or rather the luxury that they gave me to make my own choices and do things on my own terms.
But I have a
Right.
question for you. I think very recently we were discussing about the pain that your father would have gone through the day he had to shut shop.
Yeah, I'm sure because I was born in 77,
Right.
revealing my age in public, but yeah. And that's the year when he moved from his hometown to Mumbai. And then eventually we also moved after 6-8 months. But first he came so that he could set up things and bring us to a larger city like Mumbai. So when he started, I know what all he has gone through. He started with a job. Then he started with doing brokerage for this cloth merchants. And then he himself became a merchant. So it's not an ordinary feat, from today we see so many people working for us. And every day I see that these people aspire to do something in life, but the journey is so difficult.
Correct.
I see so many people starting something new and failing every day. So the success ratio is much smaller than the failure ratio for us and for everybody.
Negligible,
right? So for those people who made it, to close it by choice is very difficult.
Absolutely.
And then when you do it for your son or your family's future, believing in your family, believing in your son that, yeah, he would do something better or he's doing something better, let me now support him, is a big move, I believe. Tomorrow if my daughters are growing up, if they come to me and they tell me, Dad, let's move to another city, close down your businesses, I have something better there. For me to take that risk or to believe in her or her idea, I don't know how easy it is going to be, or maybe I don't think so. I'll do it as easily my dad did it for me.
Sure.
At that point, I used to feel this burden that he's doing something for me. He's taking so much of pain. He's moving out of the city. He's going to a new city where nobody knows him. We were living in a small office, me and my dad. we're living there, we're doing business from there. So it was a different time altogether. But the expectations were also very low.
Mm.
You know, at that point, when I sit today with with two of y'all, I feel that what a struggle day it was. But I never felt that struggle back then.
Of course.
I never had any expectations more
Mm.
than that, right? So that burden was then. But today, when I think of it, I feel that a person, that was again a learning, a person has to move out of his comfort zone if he wants to succeed or take a bigger leap. And I think he had that vision or he had that courage, which not everybody would have. I don't know whether I have it or not. God has been kind. He has never given me that situation to take some decision like this. But I don't know whether I have that courage or no. He had it.
Sure.
So I am more than burden. I am very proud of him now.
Absolutely.
I know you for like about 25 years.
years.
I know you for about 10 years now. But, before I used to know you and now I know you post EO, it's so different.
Yeah.
So I
meet
believe
less
that,
often now.
yeah, I believe that we guys opened up to each other more after we joined EO, right?
So I think it's not just that. I think it was also because we opened up to each other during different facets of life because of EO. So I mean, if you were to think about it, right?
Yeah.
You and I, I were to put it in a different way, we'd meet at office.
Or some
or
common
something
friends
else or the
party or
other.
something.
Correct,
Yeah.
right? But then it that changes the fact when you actually party with each other, or then you meet each other at something else.
Yeah, we
which
discussed
is
so many things.
correct,
We discussed your projects, my
Right.
projects.
And
We've been interactive about our businesses.
absolutely.
So meeting in different situations probably kind of opens
Absolutely.
up.
The good, bad, the ugly. Let's just put it that way.
No, but
we've seen each
I
other
really
at
am
least,
in
so.
awe with the structure of EO, which gives you so many opportunities
True.
to unfold yourself. You derive knowledge from each other. You derive
I
new
think the
paths.
structure is a very important thing, because when we meet otherwise casually as friends, there is no real agenda or nothing really to talk about.
Yeah.
Or rather, even if you start discussing something, you don't know where it's headed. But here, when you meet under a structured thing, like you meet in a meeting or something, you know that this is the kind of a format that I'm going to be following. And then the discussions gravitate towards, a very focused kind of a conclusion, I would say, or, kind of learning from each other.
Yeah.
And you're also in that mindset that I'm going to gain something out of it.
Yeah.
Rather than, becoming like an idle chit chatter or gossip at the moment.
Agreed.
So I guess that format that an organization brings, that probably has changed the conversations.
Yeah. Also, very surprisingly, interestingly, I would say rather, these few friends of our common friends, like now, Ankur, Chiranjeev, Chitra, Raj, Rohan, all these people have been friends for like donkey years now. I always knew them before EO and post EO. We always used to hang around together. They always used to pull me to all these getaways. And I always thought that the reason they bond together is EO and we bond together is because we are friends.
Yeah.
So I always used to feel that privilege.
Yeah.
They one fine day they drag me into EO as I dragged you
Yes,
into
you
EO. I'm
did.
sorry about that, but I'm sure you're happy.
No,
right?
it's okay. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Very happy.
So the way they dragged me into EO, and when I realized what that bonding was, I think how narrowly I used to think that it's EO made friends. It's not because of the relationship they share. It's totally untrue. The kind of relationship we share.
Yeah.
In terms of, I have discussed my new projects with you guys, and you all have helped me out to give out new ways and new avenues in that business. Made more structure to my business. Has given more strength to my business ideas. So you has helped us in so many different ways. I don't know about your journey. It's been 1 year, right now?
It's been a little
How
over,
has it been
almost
so
2
far?
years now. And I do remember like the very first time, when we were like forums are being formed, and I had some doubts about certain people. And then Chiranjeev said, just trust the process. And 2 years later, it kind of shows how the process helps you, get even, kind of bridge distances and gaps and disagreements and kind of, come to an agreeable, amiable place.
Sure.
And so I guess that process, the structures in place, they kind of even help you evolve in your, we might think, friendship is not something that can evolve with a structure or something.
Yeah.
Right. But then, there
untrue.
are certain relationships,
So untrue.
So untrue actually. यानी दोस्ती हम सोचते हैं यार दोस्ती तो यार दिल की बात है, मन गया तो हो गया, नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ. But it's not that. I think kahin na kahin ye structures, these processes help you cultivate a relationship that is more than just functional.
Absolutely.
जब EO join किया था, the only thought process was that I don't know if I have a lot to offer, because at 23, I mean, what can you genuinely offer? I mean, you're still learning. Of course, I mean, you don't have all the know-hows of everything. So
You had the money, bro, to offer.
yeah, I mean, if I were to only put it transactionally, but I think that that's everything that EO has not been transactional
Yeah,
for me
yeah.
in all true sense. तो तब ऐसे सोच के ज्वाइन किया था कि लेना ही है, कुछ देना तो है नहीं. And then I think now that I look at it, I mean, in terms of a forum, which of course when I joined a forum, everybody was, I would say, way older than I was. I mean, I have at least somebody who's in my forum 10 years older than I am, correct? And today it's
Can we say they are 10 years more experienced than you are?
way,
Yeah, it sounds
I mean,
better.
that's
of
just
course,
that
yeah, I
Sounds
mean,
better. Thank you.
10 years more experience, 15 years more experienced, right? And then I just walk in, and the takeaways that I got from them, and of course now they also take a few things from me when it comes to a lot of different elements that there are. And then I evolved in terms of my decision making. I evolved in terms of my business.
Yeah.
I evolved. I did so many things that I would have not just thought of because of so many people. Like, I mean, the two of you, so many other people. And that helped me change my perspective drastically. I mean, अब हम ऐसा बोलते हैं कि I started this business because of something, or I did this particular thing.
Yeah.
तब सोचा नहीं था, correct? वो सोच को if I were to say it,
रियलिटी में बदला.
रियलिटी में भी बदला, उसके साथ साथ वो सोच को डायरेक्शन दी.
हाँ.
Were a lot of different
Yeah,
people that I
yeah,
could name and mention in you. I mean, you know, there is always a developer. There is always somebody who is doing this. There is always somebody who is doing this.
yeah, I get you.
But how are they mastering it in their own individual field? As well as what is really, I mean, you know, lacking in myself was something that I was able to get through my own peers, was something which I was able to get through a lot of curated experiences that EO got for me. And I think at the end of the day, after that, I mean, I can officially and proudly say that I have a bunch of people who I can rely on, who are I can just pick up the phone and they don't need to. I mean, I don't need to think, and they
No
don't.
reasoning required.
No questions, no answers required.
I think one point that again I picked up from his conversation, and I think he made it very nice, and this is probably a message that should go out to anybody who is looking towards EO, is that it's not transactional. If you come with that mindset of being transactional, then you'll probably not take away anything else.
This forum concept, it is so unreal, you know. It is, I never used to believe in this concept when I heard it for the first time.
Yeah.
Now being there for last 10 years or so, you know, earlier as you spoke about midlife crisis or mid-age business crisis, when you are in your 30s 40s and you are struggling to navigate a way by yourself, and all of a sudden you have your forum buddies whom you can discuss your opportunities with, whom you can discuss your threats with. They have such vast experiences
Yes.
on their side of business,
Yes.
and they share it with you, and you all of a sudden realize that things were so simple. So, you know, it's not a direct, I would say, intervention, but such a big indirect help.
Oh, yes.
And they have literally, you know, there have been times where we have derived certain decisions out of our forum meetings, which has been applied to our businesses, and they have really paid off well. I feel so powerful with this bunch of people I am friends with, or I am a part of this group, that I know any kind of trouble I land up into.
Sure.
I think every solution is a phone call away for me.
Yes.
I don't know, this immense power, what indirectly comes to you through the organization is
I think
unreal.
That the whole, again, there's the whole structure, the process, the kind of, the way it puts you together, you start believing in each other, trusting each other. And of course, the bond that kind of, you know, evolves on its own afterward.
Yeah.
You are also part of a South Asia thing. So how does that forum experience differ from having a chapter forum experience?
I think the chapter forum, of course, is more local. They know the local know-hows. They know other people who you are speaking about. They know who you are, where you're placed. Whereas on a South Asia level, I think they're more it's a more phenomenal discussion. The reason is that it's about solving or it's about doing that particular thing, and the it's essentially becoming opening up to somebody extremely random. I mean, if I were to say that Tanuj is opening up to Aman in Ahmedabad, Tanuj would be like, "Yeah, I know of him. I don't know him."
Right.
Regionally, you don't know nobody.
So it becomes more of an emotional
Yeah.
experience here, whereas
Yeah.
there it's more like a more professional.
It becomes emotional after some time.
After some.
Yeah.
One take from your forum, like if you can share, like something which
As in?
you think is the most important thing what you have derived from your forum, or one example or one story to
I think
share.
perspectives.
No, not in general. One story to share.
So generally speaking, I mean, very specific. If I had to be like, half the forum is much younger, under 35, and a couple of them under 20, 30 also. And I think what we also figured is that our problems are very similar, even if we are apart in age.
Yeah.
Our problems are very similar. It's just that we are all at different cross sections of the different cross sections of it. Actually, it's just like that. And I think to an extent, because two of them are much closer in age to my daughter than I am, I think they help me understand her perspective, the way she thinks, more than I would understand her. So that was actually, sometimes it happens that you have a younger forum member who said, what is it that I can get? What value can I derive from them? For me, that happened in the first few meetings itself, when where she was getting into that college admission and stuff like that. And she was very tense about it. And that was one of the things that I discussed about it. And here they come up with a perspective, bhai, aisa hota hai. This is what we go through.
Yeah.
At the end of it, this is how she will end up doing stuff like that. So, they gave me a whole glimpse of what she will go through in the next 6 or 7 months. So that was one very important takeaway. I said that, okay, having a younger person in the forum had a lot of value for me to take.
Yeah, I understand. Absolutely.
I think, moving on, I would like to first of all ask you, so you've been a tenured member now.
Yep.
You've been with EO for almost about 10 years now.
Yep.
And you've seen it really grow, because we are in the 15th year right now. There used to be times when there used to be simple retreats, or I would say small group retreats, because there were not too many members.
Yes.
You've seen the entire evolution of EO. And today, with almost about 112 members, it's a whole different ballgame altogether. What has your experience been like, and where would you like it to go?
This is it's been a fantastic journey here. From 10 years ago or 8 years ago, when I would have been for my first retreat, I believe it has evolved in every which ways, because as a member, I have started seeing certain things which have become a benchmark or a standard for us.
Correct.
So from something which is unseen becoming a standard is a very unusual thing.
Right.
Something which you have never experienced, and now it has become standard. So we have seen that journey. We've gone through that, and all kudos to the ex-chairs who have been taking us for these retreats. I remember when I was the membership chair, I went to him and I was trying to push him and convince him to become a member. And he told me, यार क्या देख कैसे भी क्या EO में 2 ट्रिप करनी है, घूमना है, तो वो तो अपन वैसे भी करते हैं, पार्टी करना है साल में 4 बार, इतना हो रहा है वैसे भी socializing.
That is true. That is exactly.
So my question is here.
चश्मे तो खुद के हैं.
My question here is, do you still carry that stigma about EO कि यहाँ पर सिर्फ पार्टी हो रही है या retreats हो रहा है या घूमना फिरना हो रहा है, or has anything changed in 1.5 years of your tenure?
The entire perception has changed 180 degrees, and I think like the kind of perception I had 2.5 or 3 years back is what a lot of people outside of EO still carry about EO, is that these are party people, मिलते हैं, एक दूसरे की मजाक उड़ाते हैं, डांस करते हैं, अच्छा म्यूजिक होता है, ग्लैमरस हो जाता है, एक तरह का
nice locations,
एक स्यूडो पेज 3 हो गया है अहमदाबाद का, and stuff like that. And I remember like in my interview, Yash had said that, and I asked, यार क्या फर्क है? तो उसने बोला था, you are a leader in your own business, and here when you come, you are going to lead leaders. And that is a very different mindset.
Yeah.
And every time I walk into a forum meeting or I walk into a board meeting now, and that's what, keeps coming back to me. Thank you. Those are like prophetic words from him that, You are trying to lead leaders, which is a very different ball game. And that's what EO across these 2 years, through its learning events, through its trainings and all, has been doing is basically again training you to kind of become a leader among leaders. uh, and that's been a very big highlight for me. And today, for me, whatever the social events or parties are happening are just like, they're just byproducts of it. That is not what EO is for me at all.
Absolutely.
And this is what the main EO is the learning that happens. It is the conclave that we're looking forward to, that we are having, and the diversity of the learning events that we've had. Like, I mean, if you look at the kind of speakers we've had over the last, let's say, 2 years itself, right from that blind experience that we had when
Absolutely.
you were walking, wherein you were trying to bring in your senses and experiencing those,
Yep.
to actors like Sanjay Dutt coming and talking about their life stories, or a comeback man like Bobby Deol coming and talking about it, to like a war strategist
Going
like
to the parliament, understanding how, why, what
absolutely,
is
that
built
was a
where.
great
Absolutely.
event
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And then going down to our own members' factories and understanding how they have brought in the best of the work culture that is possible. So I think very few people, and these things will never come out in social media. These things will never probably come out, because I think half the time we are just learning and absorbing over there rather than pulling out your cameras and posting
Yes.
images. This happens only when you're idle, like it happens in socials.
Yeah, I
So
think people always see the Sanjay Dutt and the Bobby Deol
absolutely,
factor. They
yeah,
don't understand the reasoning behind
Behind it, yeah.
what goes in calling them and
in calling them,
understanding
and the fact the conversations that happen during those events, because we don't tape them, we don't record them,
absolutely.
and we just post the first and the last picture of it, or make a fancy video out of it, but
Yeah.
we're not really, nobody really knows what actually was spoken about in that room.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, going back to, as you said, a war strategist or somebody um, who has led the entire 1999 war.
True.
I mean, the mind, just the sheer mind that went into getting there, right?
Yeah.
Gives you goosebumps. Just
And the
gives
thought
you
process, the way they
100%.
think, the way
True.
they react.
And apart from the diversity, like you had a wellness person you had hosted the
Yeah.
last year, and then you had like anything like astrology that we explored last year.
Yeah.
So like it's been such a diverse thing, and that kind of helps you develop different aspects of your thinking.
Absolutely.
I mean, we are 108 or 110 strong community today.
12.
112 strong community. All of us are from such diverse backgrounds. And kudos to the leadership at EO Gujarat that have brought in such a pedigree under one organization.
And this is the only organization where you can manage to get
True.
these 112 people under one roof.
Together.
I've
Yeah.
been here in Ahmedabad for so many years. I've never found a august presence like we have at one of our EO gatherings. You never
Yeah.
find such people together.
And these are
It's very
people who would
difficult.
probably have staff to schedule their days, and they still manage to come
And
in
they
such
manage to come.
numbers.
Yeah. And the commitment levels are high.
Yeah.
I have a lovely story to share about this experience. Once, I don't know whether you were a member then or not. Once we got an opportunity, Naveen Jindal invited us to his.
I've
was
heard
with
about
you.
that.
Yeah, you were there,
We
right?
flew in
What an
together.
experience. Just imagine, he sent
Yeah.
us his charter flights. There were 2 aircrafts which came to Ahmedabad to pick us up as EO members. He took us to his plant in, what was the place called?
Orissa ke paas.
Orissa. And he has his own strip where the plane lands. We enter into this amazing facility, plant, which is, I don't know how to scale it. It was huge. It was huge. It was mammoth.
Yeah.
The kind of production lines we saw there, we saw that, the kiln, and we saw the line where the metal is being casted, the casters, everything. And it was so amazing. At that point, I was always, I was in awe with the fact that somebody, a single human being, looking like one of us, has constructed this. He's owning this. He's trying to run a company like this. It is so unreal. It was it was
And
magical.
the fact that you can't buy an experience like this.
Today,
you can't buy a ticket to this experience. Only EO can get you
I'll
this.
tell you something more. So today, I'm setting up a plant in Jammu.
Yeah.
Nothing compared to what we saw there. But when I went to order these machines, I could relive that moment. We are ordering a furnace which is exactly like that, looks like that.
Sure.
Maybe of lower capacity. We are having casters which look exactly like that. It is phenomenal experience. Now, I think I am living that moment again when I'm setting up this plant.
True.
It's such a wonder, and believe me, that inspiration of having that journey to the Jindal plant
Mm.
was a big enough motivation for us to attempt anything like this.
Yeah.
Being in the trading business, getting into manufacturing, doing something, that courage, I don't know where I got it from, but when I sit back and think how this happened, how did I presume that I would do something like this? I believe all these small episodes in life over the period, which blessing in disguise through EO we've got, has built up the entire energy together.
So I think, do you remember Shalu Jindal was making us rotis that day?
Just
Wow.
imagine this. She was so humble. She was so sweet. She managed to serve about a bunch of 45 people.
45 people, yes.
Wow.
She was making rotis and serving it to us by herself in their own house.
Yeah. I
Even
think that was
aspiring
one
to
of my
get
best
that level of,
experiences.
I still have the मंदिर के बाहर हम सबने साथ में photo लिया था.
Yeah. I have the photo. I have the jacket he gave her.
Yeah, I still have the jacket.
Even I have it.
Super.
That
Great.
is actually the first time we'd met, probably.
Yeah.
You, me, Ankur, Rohan.
No, I had met you before that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I met you before EO.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
but that was the first trip, I can say.
Correct. Because that was
first.
my first experience
Yeah.
to go anywhere with you. That was my first ever learning experience.
And this is the kind of FOMO I have, not having been there at that point in time,
Yeah.
kind of makes me feel I should have joined 10 years back. I mean,
No,
this is actual
This is one
FOMO
of the
that
episodes I'm telling you. Forget about the experience of going there and coming back. The learning what one could have derived. So, if you ask me one thing I've missed in life, I think I should have joined EO much earlier than I did. I would have evolved much faster, grown more, or maybe understood life in a different way much earlier in my life. So I'm very happy to see, he joined EO when he was 24.
Very young, yes.
And when he would be about 45, he would have an immense lifespan to talk about with EO, with the members, with their families.
And that's a good thing because a lot of new members that have joined over the last 2 years are in their early 20s or mid 20s.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of, of course, Yash is one person they could look up to.
Yeah.
And then they would look up to people like you who would, and talks like these, how these can kind of inspire them